In elementary school, I used to try and get up as early as I could so that I could watch TV before school started. The only problem was that the 6 a.m. time slot of Nick or Cartoon Network or Disney Channel was always filled with some weird, unsuccessful show. Or if I got up too early, George Lopez. Between my sleep deprivation, young, undeveloped brain, and the crappy time slot, it's hard to remember which shows actually existed and which were just disturbing things that I imagined while sleeping. Everything on this list, however, did in fact exist, so allow me to illuminate your mind with some canceled children's shows that you thought were fever dreams.
You guys ever played leapfrog?
With exploding frogs?
I remember seeing this show once at a friend's house, and soon after I fell down some stairs and cut open my knee. I decided to go home, but while I was bleeding out on the kitchen floor, I saw there was some gross 3 animated chicken man getting paralyzed by a snake, guys, so,
It took me over a decade to find this show, since it only aired 1 season in 2008 on Cartoon Network before being canceled forever. There's no fandom, there's no subreddit trying to get it back on the air, and I can't imagine anyone is actually missing it. Oh, and it's called Socky, Chooks? So yeah. After watching a few episodes, here's what I understand it to be. So there's a group of 3 martial artists who are, I think they're chickens, and they fight crime. Primarily a German lima bean who has a bunch of monkey ninjas. It's like a comedy action, and there's a few side characters who don't really matter, but there's a gamer girl. Now what's weird is that none of them are clearly any specific animal except for the monkey ninjas. Everyone else just looks like a poorly rendered 3D CGI character. But then there's this bean-looking guy who gets captured by a monkey, and he says that, you know, oh, you're not supposed to touch animals. So is he supposed to be what a human is in this universe? Anyway, I give the show a 2 out of 5. The sound design is pretty good, and the main characters seem like they could conceptually have been interesting. However, the execution is less than satisfactory. I almost accepted that this show does not exist because it was basically impossible to find. However, when I did find it in 2020, I actually got very excited to rewatch it. The concept is that there's an average cartoon character who can't find a job in America, but when he moves to Japan, he gets hired to be in an anime, so it's like actors are cartoon characters. They parody anime tropes, and it's a pretty interesting concept. The only big problem is that the animation looks like a 2008 Newgrounds animation.
that's like old YouTube for amateur animation. It's very bad.
The humor's also pretty unfunny and immature, save for a few accidental jokes, and that really takes it down quite a bit. This show actually got an 80% on Rotten Tomatoes though, and ended up receiving 2 seasons. In spite of this, it was canceled 2 years later. I think anime was just too niche a market in 2006 America, but I think if it was done better, this could be successfully revamped. I give it a 4.8 out of 10, slightly below average.
Let's get in position right now. You've got 3 minutes, so let's set the clock.
Legend of the Hidden Temple.
This show is just, I mean, I loved it so much the 2 times that it was on. Sadly, I forgot about it until now, but the show, the 2 times I did see it, was incredibly interesting. It aired back in 1993, leaving it the oldest show on the whole list. I'm spoiling the rest. Spoiling it now. It doesn't get older than this. You've got 6 teams of kids with a color and an animal as their team name, like the Purple Parrots, who,
They always suck, by the way.
and they compete in these obstacle courses with sets that were designed to look like cool old abandoned Mayan structures. And the first challenge was all the teams had to climb across a rope over a steaming moat and hit a button before the other teams. And the final challenge involved searching throughout the hidden temple itself to find parts of an artifact and assemble it before the other person. And some of the rooms had people dressed up like temple guards, and they jump out and they try to scare the kids. It was wild. It was actually received quite well initially and received 3 seasons. However, it ended up costing too much to upkeep the studio space, and there weren't enough people watching as the years went on. So that's why it stopped. I give this show 6 out of 10, slightly above average. Skunk Fu. Who cares? Cartoon Network made it. There's just 1 season. This show's basically Kung Fu Panda, except the main character's a skunk, and there is a panda, but he doesn't like do anything. Also, there's this oddly erotic episode that has no business existing. The fox lady teaches the skunk how to wrestle, and
Let me go!
who greenlit this? Why did they draw her like this? Negative a billion out of 6.
Pretty good for a beginner.
So basically, It's Sword Art Online, except big foreheads. These bulbous French children have to go and save the virtual world from this evil virus that makes these towers that summon monsters in the real world. When I was younger, I wrote this off as some weird Disney Channel thing, like Bubble Guppies meets Cyber Chase, but my sister-in-law reintroduced me to it pretty recently, and it's pretty interesting. Problems are definitely the pacing and the art style for me, and because of that, I'm gonna have to say it's about a 4.9 out of 10, just slightly below average, but maybe if I watched the whole thing, I'd feel better about it, but I have so many other shows I have to get through, so this is low on my priority list. I despise this show. I quite literally get mad whenever I see it pop up. This show sucks. It's weird. I don't understand it at all. There's an episode where a superhero comes to life and he takes freeze tag to mean that you should freeze everyone to death, and so he does that, and I don't know why this exists. There's a fat incel comic book guy, but who cares? There's Squidward. There's literally Darth Sidious as a janitor. It somehow got 2 seasons, and on Google it says that 77% of people like it. Society is lost. There is no hope. Awful show out of 10.